Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Camille Prosperity of HelloCamille.com. You can see it right there in the bottom of my screen. Please go there. Make sure you are following me, interacting with me everywhere where I can be found. Guys, I haven't even really gotten fully prepped for this video, but I wanted to come on and do this right now because many of you have commented, hey Kim, since you're back, where are the credit videos? And this one right here was very, very important. So I wanted to go ahead and just pump it out because I'm sure one or many of you are either going through this or about to go through this. So I wanted to go ahead and get this information to you ASAP, Rocky. Now, you know how I like though. If I'm gonna come up here and be open and transparent with you guys, please do the same with me. Please interact with me. Please tell me where you are watching from. If you're a replay viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, which I'm pretty sure you will, but at the very least, go ahead and hit that like button. Now, what we're going to talk about today is a consumer win. Oh my gosh, y'all, we have a consumer win. And I don't mean to say it like this is rare. It's actually not. It's not. But I want to go through with you why this consumer won against one of the biggest debt collectors that we know about. Uh, excuse me, and that debt collector is PRA. That stands for Portfolio Recovery Associates. If you've ever fallen on hard times, more than likely you've seen portfolio recovery on your credit report. And if they got to your credit report, what that means is that you did not do what this consumer did, which means they probably sent you a letter saying, hey, we bought your debt. And you probably saw the letter, freaked out, put it away, and never looked at it again. And then when they took you to court, you did the same thing. You got the summons, you got the whatever, the paperwork saying you have an upcoming case, you need to respond. And because you did not know how to respond, because we're not taught this, you didn't, which means they got a default judgment. A default judgment is not a real judgment in the sense that you actually did something wrong and they legitimately won. It just means you didn't show up to answer, to say anything. So by default, they won. This is how the majority of debt collectors win their cases. This is how the majority of consumers lose. And I just did a YouTube short about this. Oftentimes we don't go and find a lawyer to help us out in this case because it's very hard to find a consumer protection lawyer. Lawyers don't go to law school and accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt so that they can come represent a consumer who couldn't even pay their credit card bill and just wants the case to go away. Where's the money in it for the lawyer to do that? Even if you pay them $1,000, right? Why wouldn't they go do personal injury or criminal law where they could get, or divorce law, goodness knows, where they could get $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for that? So if you're going to be in this realm of consumer protection law advocacy, just know more than likely you're going to have to know how to do this yourself, more than likely, okay? And that's not a bad thing. Just like everything else in your life, you're not going to know it until you start to do it, okay? This is a learn by doing type of thing. But let me go ahead. I'm going to share the screen. Remember, as you come in, let me know where you are watching from. Interact with me. That is the best way to get me to not regret going live. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because the case that we are talking about, it is right here. It is Green versus Portfolio Recovery Associates. And this is this year, y'all. This was only a few months ago. This was in February. Now, what I want you to understand is this is in Virginia and it's the Court of Appeals. What does that mean, Kim? That means that Portfolio Recovery Associates, notice, Green versus Portfolio Recovery Associates. The consumer is the plaintiff right here, and the not the credit report, the debt collection agency is the defendant. That's because it's in the Court of Appeals. That means the roles have been reversed. This case originally went to the lower court, and it was Portfolio Recovery Associates versus Green. The debt collection company sued the consumer, okay, sued the person. So once the lower court had the case PRA versus the person, debt collector versus the person, a judgment was made for the debt collection company, and then the person took it to a court of appeals, which then reverses the roles. That's why it is Green versus Portfolio Recovery Associates. Are y'all cool with that? Does that make sense? Hey, Michael, the Contract Slayer. Oh, I like that name. You're watching from Indiana. Thank you so much for letting me know that. I appreciate you so much. Participation is key. So, yeah, this once you go to appeals, the roles reverse. And if you were the defendant, you now become the plaintiff, and whoever was the plaintiff now becomes the defendant. Okay, very, very important. Now, what I want you to do, I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the chat, and later on, I will drop this. Dear Walt Christian, what's going on? My brother in Georgia. Looks like an interesting case. It is very interesting. Dear Walt Christian, you guys go on over now. Michael the Contract Slayer, I'm not hating on you, brother, but I know Dear Walt Christian has a channel. Y'all guys go over to his channel. Everybody, all the replay viewers, go to his channel, subscribe. Very interesting, brother. Great content and amazing video quality. Hey, what's going on, iSketch? You in New York? I'm headed your way. All right. New Yorkers show me mad love. I love it. All right, so going back to the case, guys. What's interesting about this is right now we're in very hard economic times. So if you're not facing this, you probably will be soon. And I ain't hating on you, because even if you're not going to be facing something like this soon, somebody that you know, I guarantee it, somebody that you know is going to be going through this. And the best thing you can do is jump on it early. Let me tell you how this thing worked out. And Dear Walt Christian knows this, because this not only happens, this happens in every single aspect of law. There's corruption, there's laziness, there's just things you wouldn't even believe. We are talking about this right now, but the Young Thug case, how corrupt it is, how things are happening that should not be happening. And the same thing happened in this little itty bitty consumer protection case right here. So I'm not going to go through this with a fine tooth comb. I really, really want to pay attention to the fact we're talking about an almost $9,000 debt right here. For the majority of people, this is a substantial amount of money. And I want you guys to understand this. When this case was in the lower court, and Portfolio Recovery initially got the judgment, got the win, they could then take that win and garnish this person's check. So again, the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I came back to my channel, the reason why I want you guys to understand this is because just because you ignore it doesn't mean it goes away. And the last thing I want for any one of y'all right now is for your check to be garnished. Y'all know that's a whole type of different situation you're dealing with. When before your check hits the bank account, it's gone. The majority of it is gone. I don't think anybody wants that, right? So kudos to this quote unquote consumer for knowing what to do and how to do it. So we're talking about a $9,000 debt here. Of course, Portfolio Recovery Associate, like I said earlier, they are one of the biggest debt collectors. They are not the quote unquote original creditor. All right. So they didn't own the debt originally. What I want to draw y'all's attention to is how they got the debt. Okay. Now, when they take you to court, they're gonna have some exhibits on file. They're going to give it to you in your summons. And this is just to scare you away. But half the time, people don't even look at the exhibits. They're just like, I know I had a card at some point in time. I know I was shopping or paying bills on it. I know I owe the debt. So here we go. And as I've told you guys before, I don't care if you owe the debt. The real question is, does the person who's suing you own the debt? Okay. We are talking about owe versus own. All right. I'm going to write that in the chat because I really want y'all to understand that. All right. Even if you owe the debt, does the person who's suing you, does the entity who's suing you own the debt? So let's look right here in this section. Look at how many times this debt changed hands, y'all. Let me enlarge this. Okay. All right. So in September 2010, we're talking about 14 years ago, the debt was sold from the original creditor, CIT Bank, to WebBank. Then 3 years later, it was sold from WebBank to Comedy Capital Bank. Then 5 years later, it was sold from Comedy to Synchrony. We ain't even gonna get on Synchrony, y'all. Then a year later, it went from Synchrony to PRA. So that's what, 1, 2, 3. This debt changed hands a total of 4 times. A total of 4 times. And the more you deal with these banks and these creditors, you know that some of them have a reputation, right? Just like some of y'all have a reputation. Somebody say your name in the streets and they're like, what, Kim? Oh no, you're not trying to go up against Kim, are you? Right? It might be a good reputation, it might be a bad reputation, depending on what the situation is. Same thing with these banks. Synchrony, like the minute I saw Synchrony, I'm like, yeah, I know that record keeping was horrible. Horrible. But to be honest, a lot of these banks don't have the best records anyway, because they really don't expect us to do anything. They don't expect us to do anything but sit down, pay, shut up, and hide. That's really all they expect of us. So they don't really have to keep good. They don't really have to keep good records by and large. That's the good news. Because for a person like you who's watching this video right now, who is actually going to look at the documents instead of just being intimidated by them, you're going to find the flaws like Green did. So here's what Green found. Green found, and again, I'm just summarizing this for you. I dropped the link in the chat and I'll drop it in the description box as well. But what Green found is that when PRA, Portfolio Recovery Associates, bought the debt, they basically submitted to court. And I talked in another video about this whole bill of sale thing, right? There's a bill of sale which says I bought the debt, but then there's a purchase agreement. And sometimes the purchase agreement will say as a caveat in the contract, hey, you bought this debt, but we as the seller are not verifying any of the information in the debt. They're basically saying we sold you a spreadsheet, we sold you a bulk amount of debts from people who owe us at a discounted price, and we don't want anything to do with this any further. We got our money, you got the right to now collect on this debt, and that's where our business stops. What does that mean? That means that oftentimes the person, the entity, the company selling the debt is not making any claims as to the validity of the debt or any of the numbers. So that means the person, the entity, the company that bought the debt doesn't know if this crap is right or not. And they really don't care, because I just told you, they don't care because they know that you are not going to verify anything, or at least that's what they think. So in this case with Green, what had happened was PRA went to court saying Green owes this debt, because remember, they bought the debt for pennies on the dollar. So anything that they collect is pretty much 100%, almost doggone near 100% profit margin for them. They're hoping to get anything. That's why they send you those letters first and foremost, because they're hoping you'll contact them, you'll be scared, you'll pay. And again, it's all profit for them. If you don't contact them, then every now and then, sometimes they are a little slow, but every now and then they will take it to the next level and take you to court for the debt. And again, anything they win is profit. They know that if they win, you won't proactively pay. So that's where they go to garnish you. And you've now had a small problem that has blown up into a huge problem. Okay. So what Green did was, in the lower court, they ruled for PRA, but on appeals, Green fought it and said, hold up, this spreadsheet that they provided where they show that they apparently own the debt doesn't have my information linked to it. It basically just says, hey, there's a bulk amount of accounts, and this company is claiming that I'm in that bulk amount. But there's no real clear evidence to show that they have standing to collect on this debt. And Green won. I ain't gonna hold y'all today. I just wanted to give you a little lunchtime court case to nibble on. I want you guys to go look up this case and read through it in its entirety. I want you to highlight the words that you do not understand, because it's very, very, very important that you study. The best way for you to have success in court is to study those who have, and to study those who haven't. But in this case, we're talking about a win for Green just a few months ago in the Virginia Court of Appeals. This is a huge case, y'all, for you to, again, understand study, because this happens so very frequently. If it is not PRA, Portfolio Recovery Associates, it is another debt collection company. It may be a big one, it may be a small one. It really doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. This is a numbers game. There are a lot of people right now defaulting on loans, and the paperwork is so sloppy, and the court system is so lazy. Okay, they know that we don't know anything about the court system, or at least that's what they think, and so they don't bother to do what they should do. If they did, this case would have never even had to go to the Court of Appeals in the first place. The judge in the lower court should have thrown it out. Does that make sense to you? I'm going to stop sharing because I want to go back and just see if you guys are picking up what I am putting down. Again, I don't want to make this video super duper long. I just want to give you something to chew on, because either you or somebody you know is going through or will go through this soon. And what you need to do is know how to, at the very least, look through the paperwork. Then you need to get familiar with what is the court system in your area. Every single state pretty much has an online electronic court system. I know here in Georgia, it's called e-Odyssey or something like that. You need to go ahead and create an account there and get used to navigating that court system, because I guarantee you, there's some company you need to be suing that's doing you wrong, or you're going to get sued. At some point in your life, you're going to get sued. And the worst time to figure out how to answer a court case or file a court case is when you are needing to do so ASAP. Remember, there's a statute of limitations to everything. And when somebody files against you, you only have a certain amount of time to answer. So go ahead, look up the electronic filing system for the state that you live in. Create an account, get familiar with it, and start looking up cases pertaining to debt collection. If you know that your money is funny and your change is strange right now, look up those cases, the ones where people have won and the ones where people have lost, and get familiar with them right now so that you will know what to do when it's your turn, or again, the time comes for you to help somebody that you know and love. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead. Remember, like this video. That helps it reach in the algorithm. Let me know what you think about this case. Are you in the middle of a lawsuit? You can always go over to hellocamille.com and book some time with me to if you need somebody to help you go through your documents. I do this a lot more than the average bear, so it definitely helps to have another pair of eyes. And I don't give legal advice at all. I just help you read. All right. All right. I will talk to you guys later. That's it. Have a good day. Bye.